not a land of kings or dictators or autocrats. We're a nation of laws, of order, not chaos, of peace, not violence.
We prayerfully walk 1 year since the insurrection and patriotically honor the heroes who defended the Capitol.
As you heard there, today marks 1 year since the insurrection at the nation's capital as rioters stormed the Capitol grounds trying to stop the certification of President Biden's election win. Today, President Biden gave blistering criticism of former President Trump, and the nation remained bitterly divided over political and cultural issues 1 year after that violent uprising at the U.S. Capitol building.
Today, a number of events all across the country and at the Capitol to commemorate the anniversary of the day. And WGN's Mike Lowe is beginning our coverage now with President Biden's speech and Donald Trump's response.
Ray and Lourdes, good evening to both of you. President Biden condemned Donald Trump for spreading what he called a web of lies that incited the attack. Meantime, a series of events at the Capitol marked the significance of the day.
My country, 'tis of thee.
This evening, on the steps of the U.S. Capitol building, congressional leaders hosted a candlelight prayer vigil intended to promote unity on the anniversary of the January 6th attack.
We prayerfully walk 1 year since the insurrection and patriotically honor the heroes who defended the Capitol.
Earlier in the day,
Fellow Americans,
speaking from Statuary Hall, just outside of the U.S. House chamber, where a year earlier, an angry mob of pro-Trump rioters had tried to thwart the certification of the 2020 presidential election.
we saw with our own eyes rioters menace these halls.
President Joe Biden condemned his predecessor, Donald Trump, without ever using his name.
For the first time in our history, a president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power as a violent mob breached the Capitol. But they failed. They failed. And on this day of remembrance, we must make sure that such attack never happens again.
President Biden marked the anniversary of the January 6th attack on the Capitol with a scathing speech that forcefully denounced Trump and his supporters.
Because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept he lost.
Former President Trump canceled a previously scheduled news conference in which he planned to discuss the attack and instead issued a written statement that read, quote, Democrats want to own the day of January 6th so they can stoke fears and divide America. I say, let them have it because America sees through their lies and polarizations.
The American spirit is being tested.
Earlier in the day, Vice President Kamala Harris said the assault on free and fair elections continues and called on the U.S. Senate to pass voting rights legislation.
We cannot sit on the sidelines. We must unite in defense of our democracy.
Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell accused Democrats of using, quote, the dark day to advance partisan goals. Illinois Congresswoman Robin Kelly, who was trapped for a time in the House gallery during the riot, says the anniversary was an emotional reminder of the day.
To remember that we have to reflect, but we also have to move forward and do everything we can to protect our democracy.
WGN News requested interviews with every Republican member of the Illinois congressional delegation. All of them declined. Downstate Congresswoman Mary Miller did issue a written statement blasting the investigation of the attack, saying, quote, the January 6th committee is engaged in a political witch hunt against President Trump. Congresswoman Marie Newman says the anniversary is a time to get to the truth.
We cannot run away from that. We can't whitewash it. We can't forget about it. So we have to remember it and learn from it.
But in the end, the president says the anniversary is a reminder that the nation remains locked in a battle for the soul of America.
I did not seek this fight brought to this Capitol 1 year ago today, but I will not shrink from it either. I will stand in this breach. I will defend this nation, and I will allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy.
And we have a full transcript of President Biden's remarks on our website. We also have Donald Trump's complete statement there on WGNTV.com as well.
All right, Mike, thanks so much.